Okay, so we're going to talk about doing searches on databases for your internal assessment. These are the four things I'm going to be going over: broad to narrow searches and searching within searches, using tabs to keep things moving, searching within books, and saving and making bibliographies. I'm going to be using Questia as my demonstration. JSTOR is a little bit trickier. You need to know more about your topic, but the same rules always apply: broad to narrow and use tabs. So we'll go over here to my Questia. I've already logged in. And the question I'm going to use is here from Bethel's IA. What role did George F. Kennan play in the Cold War from 1946 to 1948? I'm using her question in part because I know it's going to be relatively easy to search. So I've already practiced this, but I'm going to try to show it to you a little bit more live right now. So George F. Kennan, Cold War, 1946-48. What's Kennan remembered for? Cold War, containment, long telegram, the Mr. X. So I'm going to start broad. Kennan. I don't even need to type George Kennan. I'm just going to type Kennan. This returns me 2,900 sources. That's a lot of sources. And this doesn't even look relevant. The Cold War hasn't started yet. I can scroll down quickly. These are free sources. These means these are out of, what's that called, copyright. These are not related to me. Look at the publication date on them. So I'm going to scroll up here, searches within searches. My broad results have returned things. Notice I can also click on academic journals, magazines, etc. But I'm not even going to do that yet. I'm not narrow enough. But better to start broad than narrow. Add to click a keyword. I'm going to go with long telegram. It's something I know that he did. It's something that should appear. Wow. Look at the results. Far fewer. 200. The long piece. Inquiries into the history of the Cold War. John Lewis Gaddis. You should remember that guy. You should be like, oh my gosh, I love this. I'm going to open a new tab. I'm not looking at it yet. I'm still searching for resources. E.H. Harriman, a biography. I don't remember who that guy is. The book was written in 1922. It's not about the Cold War. Siberia exiles. What happened to the Soviet Union? This is the end of the Cold War. Notice what I'm doing. I'm looking at everything. I look at the title, I look at the publication date, I look at the subjects, and then I also look at the quote that they give us. This looks like a quote from like a works cited page at the end of the book. This is not worth it to me to click on because this information doesn't, it's not like a quote in the middle of text. The long telegram's not doing it for me. So I'm going to get rid of the long telegram and I'm going to replace it with containment. Because after all, that's what Bethel's IA is about. Let's look at what we get with containment. First, it's a broader search. More journal articles, more books. Same book here, stupid book. Strategies of Containment, the one I've... Oh, Strategies of Containment. Look at that. John Lewis Gaddis, my homie. Let's open that up. Okay, Strategy Against Global Terror. So what I'm getting now is I'm getting uses of containment, and Kennan probably is like a biography of him to then talk about new things, right? Terrorism, for example. So I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to keep looking. U.S. containment policy and the conflict in Indochina. So it's a history book. What's this? The Vietnam War. Oh look, Vietnam, right? I wanna maybe try to narrow it down a little more. So I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna add the Cold War in, because I'm trying to get past this terrorism stuff. Of course, more Gaddis. God, I love that guy. I'm not gonna open this because I think with the two Gaddis I've already got, it's plenty. Still seeing red. So again, it's a book that's talking about post-Cold War. Let's keep looking. The Cold War as rhetoric. Now I know what rhetoric means, and it says the beginnings. I'm going to open it. I'm not even going to look at it anymore because it's the beginnings. United States after the Cold War. Screw it. Now an encyclopedia. If you're really unclear on Kennan or containment, you might want to click on this because this will give you the basics. I know enough that I'm not going to need a Cold War encyclopedia to give me a broad outline. But this would be a good place to go. Well, maybe, okay, I'll click on it. So now we're looking at, now it's like big general history books potentially. So I'm going to go to the journal articles, see if I can get lucky within my journal articles. So this has everything in it. Kennan's containment, but it's a preemptive world. Fall of 2003. And this might have an analysis of containment, but it's about a different topic. So I'm going to skip that. I'm going to look at trying to keep Cold War origin sources. Cold War historiography. Oh, there we go. New evidence behind traditional typographies. If you don't know what that means, and I don't really know, I'm going to scroll, but historiography, the creation of history in the Cold War. Recent publication, Social Science Review, Cold War history as a subject. Officials quickly adopted Kennan's analysis. I'm going to click on this just to see what it's like. Now, for the sake of time in the video, I can continue searching this way, but notice how quickly you get off containment. You start looking at, or off the Cold War. It's Kennan's application of containment to the current American-Iranian conflict, or France in the 1870s. So screw that. I got tabs open. Let's look at our tabs real quick. The long piece, John Lewis Gaddis. Notice what it gives me. It gives me a table of contents. I can search within the book. So real interesting here. Since I've done this before, I'm gonna go here. Oh my gosh. George Kennan and the Strategy of Containment. This chapter is probably worth reading just on its own. So I'm gonna click on that and move on. Cold War is rhetoric, the beginnings. Huh, very interesting. I'm going to search within this book to see. Just looking here, political rhetoric, rhetoric stockpile, prologue to the Cold War, Iron Curtain. Let's look at the entire Truman Doctrine. Somewhere in here is Kennan. Okay, Marshall Plan and X. Again, that's Kennan. Somewhere in these pages. But I'm going to search within the book. And I'm going to go back to my original search term, Kennan. Why? Because I know it's in here, but I want to know where it is. And if we look over here, it gives me the search results. Takes me to the first page, gives me the search results. 81 times Kennan shows up in the book. So I could maybe try to narrow it, or I could look. And what I'm doing is I'm looking for clusters of pages where Kennan's going to appear a lot. So 81, 204, 200, 196, 189, 199, 190, 191. I'm starting to feel like somewhere in here. So I can do two things. I can click back and click on the nearest chapter of this, or just click on the first hit in the cluster of hits. The 190s look good for this. The origins and central arguments of the sources of Soviet conduct. Kennan is all over this page. Whoops, that's the next lesson. It's interesting, it's highlighted here but not here. Oh, because it's Kennan's, that's probably why. Kennan is all over. It's going to be a quick biography. This is worth reading. I like this project. What am I going to do? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save to active project, because that keeps it for later. That also creates the bibliography. Notice how it's up here. If I wanted to, go to my default project. We'll go there in a second. I can do things. What does it enable me to do? I highlight text. I can highlight. I can cite this passage, or I can look it up. Highlighting stays within it. You still need the internet to see this. Cite this passage. Look what it's going to do for me. Boom. In-text citation, but not the end citation. It's an MLA citation and a quotation. How cool is that? Copy and paste it. How do I make a full citation? You come back here into your saved projects. In my case, it's called default project. These are other things I've been looking at. Okay, clearly know what I'm teaching these days. And if I want to create a bibliography, I can select all or just one and create a bibliography. MLA, done. Already done for you. Let's go back to what? What am I looking at now? So if you wanted to see the Kennan in here, again, we would search within the book. And oh, here's a journal article. Now, there's no search within the journal article. So what do? Well, I can search within the article here, I guess. Never mind, there is search. That's me not even spelling the whole name. But it's still gonna... No results, you jerks. So it's a kind of unforgiving search. If I wanted to make it a little bit easier, I could actually use... I'm using Open Apple or Command F and searching within my Firefox. Because this is going to search what's on the page. Highlight all, and it's going to show me all the Kennans. Oh, it's a mess of Kennan. No more Kennan in this article. Screw him, but definitely worth potentially reading these 3 paragraphs. Again, reading later. Back here, we've got Kennan. There's an entry on Kennan. This is where maybe if I were Bethel, I would want to start with my reading here. This is going to give you search terms and words that then you can use to narrow your research. Long telegram, Kennan's telegram. just kind of looking foreign affairs, Mr. X, like this is all the stuff we need, a biography of things before, and probably more. How do I turn the page? I turn the page down here. Like a Kindle, it shows where you are in the book. You can move manually or either two ways, I guess, manually. Okay? So that is searching Canon. If we go back here, broad to narrow, I start with Canon and then I end up with containment in the Cold War. Tabs, I open things fast, searching within books. So using the search thing, thinking about clusters of information and then beginning to read, and how to basic lesson in using Questia. I hope that's enough for you to get started. Of course, Bethel, you got to do your own reading. But what I see here is 4 sources easily that you can cite, and we've only been searching for about 6 minutes.